Okay, we're good.
Okay. I'll call the meeting to order. Ted, will you open us with prayer?
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come with thanksgiving this morning. Thank you for the many blessings that have restored unto us. We thank you for this day, for this is the day that the Lord has made, and we should all rejoice in it. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for allowing us to come together to discuss the business of the city. We thank you for allowing us to discuss the annual budget. We pray that everything we say will be in your will. We thank you for our mind and our knowledge and our understanding. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Thank you.
Amen.
Okay, Michelle and Gary, you get us started on budget.
Okay, Michelle, I'm obviously you got the controls. I'll be your co-pilot, but that's about it. I'm trying to find, is on our Dropbox, is there a special budget? 24
Yes, sir.
budget.
FYE 2024.
There's a 2024 budget folder. I'm telling everybody that because those of you who have two screens, if you can put that budget on there, then you will be able to see some of the detail that makes up these things that we'll talk about. And apart from that, Michelle, we got to turn it over to you because you got to use ClearGov for us to see these things. Now, what I would suggest is let's start with all the little fun. Start with crime prevention. Or what I'm trying to see your order. Your order is different than what I'm looking at on Dropbox. You can start with economic development and tourism and go from there down, leave out park and the general fund and skip the sewer fund, but hit those others first.
Okay. All right. Let me get some of this stuff out of the way. Don't need to see. Okay, so economic development and tourism. Let me go back and look at something real quick. So this is basically your end of year projections for 23, and this is where the 24 budget revenue and expenditures. This is the summary, and this is the projected fund balance after everything is shakes out for 23 and 24. Just to give you like a you know.
Okay,
highlight.
so Michelle, I saw in the general fund in the Dropbox where you had the sales tax recap, but I didn't see the recap of sales tax for tourism.
Did I not drop that in there?
I didn't see it. I'm not saying it's not there. I just
Okay. I've done that.
it may be somewhere. Just tell us what the total is going to be about. What is your year to date? Your projected total this year is 1.3.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
That's for. Yes.
That's for 23, right?
That's right.
And that's probably up 200,000 over what we had last year.
We can go back. I can look.
Well,
at
you don't have to. I was just commenting
Okay.
on it. I know it's up.
It is up. It is up.
Okay. Can we see then the expenditure request for that fund?
Yeah.
If you'll expand that so we can all look at it.
So
All right, so Delta Center,
that's
they want
Delta
to go
Center
up,
for, yes.
they
Mhm.
want to go up, they want to go up to 30,000?
They request 30,000 every year, and y'all reduce it to 20,000. That's the Delta State, Delta Center. It's Delta Center for Culture and Learning. They,
Mayor, who's in
Hello.
charge of that now?
I think
Rolando Hertz.
Yeah,
Who?
Rolando Hertz.
If that's as wide as it goes.
Been on for quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is, hang on. Let me try that. See if that helps. Mhm.
Is your screen maximized?
It is now. I was showing the summary at first,
Okay,
but I forgot to
okay.
maximize it after.
Okay.
So, Rolando Hertz now, it used to be Lee Elward.
Okay, can we,
She's not with
let's
it
just,
anymore.
let's do 25 there.
Okay.
The Glenn Foundation, they still do a good job, don't they, Mayor?
Excellent.
Good job.
Excellent.
All right, so 50 Nights of Light, it's just repair work.
50 Nights of Light, that is, Becky's request.
That's repair work, right?
I think she's got a couple of things added. It's in Dropbox. Her request is in Dropbox. It's just
Okay.
updates, basically.
All right, go ahead, go down. Let's see, Delta Aquatic, it's about the same.
Mm-hmm.
No, did
Yes,
they have anything? They didn't have anything last year, did they?
They made so here, right here in this column, it
Right.
was budgeted for 3,000. They haven't made their draw yet.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So
Are they gonna make that drop?
I have reached out to him and I have not heard back from him.
Are they still active?
That was my question.
Who is that?
It was Jamie Van Vulpen. I was going to reach out to LaJean. I think, is Danny still on the meeting?
You want me to run down there and ask her? She's downstairs.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, I'll be back. I know she's heavy into it.
So they are still active?
Oh yeah, she's.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm gonna go down there and ask. I'll be right back.
okay, perfect. This actually is not Heritage anymore. This was a combination of Heritage and Delta Arts Alliance, but Heritage, we've moved out to their own fund. So it's a transfer now instead of an appropriation.
Okay. So what kind of Grammy Museum's the same? What's this debt service? I mean,
that is the transfer to Heritage.
Oh, okay. I mean,
Instead of an appropriation, it's a transfer.
Okay. All right. Culture and Recreation, expand that one.
Well, it is. It's
Oh, that is it.
It's the Railroad Museum.
I got you.
Hey, Michelle.
Yes.
Very, very much so active. She didn't know why they hadn't done the draw yet. She's calling Jamie and we'll find out. But
Okay.
I mean, they're doing something with things almost every week. So
Okay.
Okay, go back, Michelle. What's going on at the what's going on at the railroad?
I need to plug in. I'm going to plug in that appropriation because I feel like they're probably going to make that.
All right. What's going on at the Railroad Museum that we got a $46,000 increase?
That's their payroll. It's not an increase. That's just projected. I'm not following.
If you look at the top line of Culture and Recreation, your top line. It goes from 201 to 247.
Oh, I gotcha. She increased her request for, events and, the things that she does at the museum. So you'll see it, it's not any one, it's spread throughout. I tell you the easiest way to see it is to do this. Let's see.
Is the revenue that she's generating showing up in our revenue somewhere?
It is,
Yeah.
when you look at the revenue, so what we did last year, we added revenue line items for like her gift shop and her events and that kind of thing, so we could kind of see if what she was spending was generating the revenue for what she was.
Okay, so stop right there. Contractual services is one of them.
Yes.
What is that?
Hang on, if you'll let me get everything, you can actually see the summary by line item.
She generated so much money last year. She brought in a lot of money.
Did a good job.
All right, so contractual services.
That included.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Okay, train
Right
engineers.
here.
No, go back up. Train engineers are your big one.
Train engineers.
Yes. Go up.
Did I miss it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right there.
Okay, so she's asking for, does she have more or is she asking for an increase?
No, she, so if you see, it was budgeted. All right, it was budgeted 69. I have projected for 59, but, she put a comment in here that she put in a cushion for extra hours for Christmas, after-hour birthday parties, and events, and the American Queen, because everyone works when they have vote days.
Okay,
So-
let me make, all right, let me make a suggestion because, I've already looked at our totals and we're $700,000 over in the general fund. So even though I know this cushion is probably needed, we need to take some of these things out of our budget because we're going to get to the end of the day and we can't cover this.
Right.
Yeah.
But now this is tourism. Hang on a minute.
Yes, this is economic development and
This is
tourism.
not general fund. Okay,
Right.
never mind. Leave it alone.
Okay.
Leave it alone. We're okay in this fund.
Okay.
Yeah, this fund is not going to hurt us. It's a general fund where we got to be careful.
Right. Then she had an increase in.
Look at supplies. That's another bit.
Yes, supplies is where she tends to spend a lot of money, and that's where she had an increase.
Okay.
Gift shop inventory, she bumped there.
Yeah, but see, she turns that over, so that's really not a fair budget presentation unless you're going to increase her revenue.
Right.
She's selling that stuff.
She bumped for building and ground repair.
Okay.
What
is her capital outlay?
Cleaning and janitorial expenses was bumped. She bumped.
She's got some exhibits. What is that for?
Let's see what she put for her. Well, she didn't put an explanation. She just bumped exhibits. So exhibits is everything that she does in the museum. It's not just like the trains themselves. It's everything that she does within the museum as far as anything like for her. If she buys something for Christmas and it's something that she's going to use in the museum and it's like a fixture or something, she may charge that to exhibits. Does that make sense?
All right. It's not as bad as it looked. Okay. Go back to the revenue on her. Go back to the revenue on her thing. Where is just her revenue?
other there, it's kind of spread out. You have to. Mouse is trying to act up. Oh, there's your tourism right there.
No, her revenue, not,
Right, I just,
not the fund.
she has other revenues, which is gonna be, her events.
Yeah, but see, she averages a couple of $1,000s a month and more.
Easily.
That number ought to be substantially more than that.
Hang on. She's got gift shop sales right here. And donations, which we are always conservative on donations. And even on gift shop sales, like it's projected to be 21,000, but we're
Yeah.
only budgeting 17 because you can't
I
be
know,
for
but
sure.
you've increased her cost 20,000 is my point, Michelle.
Right.
You're saying she's
But-
gonna spend 20,000 on gift shop stuff and she's only gonna sell 17.
But some of that's going to sit on the shelf, Gary. It's not going to all be sold.
I understand, but she ain't got that much stuff sitting on the shelf. Okay, all right, go ahead.
All right. Anything else?
I don't see nothing. Brian, you have anything?
No, I don't. What, can you pull back over and see what her 22 revenue numbers were?
What, her 22?
Yeah. Don't you have that?
I
Okay,
do.
you got that.
Mhm.
22 actual.
Can't see it anyway.
That's just gonna be year to date from when
Can
we
you,
brought it
can you
in.
do, there's not
So it's
there's not a
good.
22 actual anywhere?
I'm looking for 22 projected. I mean, that'll give us an idea. I don't see a 22 projected. This would be about the same timeline.
Yeah,
So that's not going to be a full year. So,
okay. Well, I mean, her numbers are good. I'm not questioning them. I'm just trying to, I don't think she cost us as much as it looks like. Okay. All right.
she
Go
does
back
a
to-
good job, and she
Yeah.
promotes everything she does. She promotes it very well. So she always has a great turnout.
Yeah.
So,
All right. But anyway, we're going to end up positive in the fund balance in that fund.
yes, correct.
All right. Now, does this include the chamber allocation?
Yes.
Oh, where is it? I didn't see that.
Hang on. No, this is, hang on, let me go back. That is, the chamber, yeah, right there. Now, they went up on their request. 66,000, that includes a request for Crime Stoppers, and it also includes a request for Cleveland Development Foundation, but I
Yeah.
reduced that in half because we can't provide 100% of their budget statutorily. So I reduced that request in half.
All right. Gotcha. Well, they're doing a good job. Okay, as long as we can stay
Right.
positive, as long as we can stay positive in that fund is the main thing.
Yeah, that's it.
You good from there? You've got your, retail strategies, sculpture garden, and then the Christmas lighting maintenance is what I think what you were thinking earlier from Robinson Electric. That's in there.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay,
all right,
you good there?
yeah.
Do you
Yeah,
want to revisit this or do you want me to?
No, I
finalize it?
know, I think it's good, unless somebody's got an issue. I mean,
Finalize?
we are so fortunate that our tourism revenue is increasing at the rate that it is. It's increasing at twice the rate of our sales tax revenue.
It speaks volumes, doesn't it?
It's insane. It's just hard to believe we're doing this. But it is good, and you got so much more stuff happening right now with McAllister's fixing to open up, and maybe I see that the old Wendy's building is getting remodeled. So, is it public knowledge who's moving in there yet?
Yes, sir.
Arby's, is that who it is?
Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah, I thought that's who it was. I just didn't know if it was public knowledge.
Yeah.
So you're talking about two more very good restaurant potentials, and man, every time we get one of these, it adds $40,000 or $50,000 to that tourism budget. And then what the mayor and some of us met last week with Mississippi Queen. They've kind of renewed their interest in Cleveland, so that's the reason why the Grammy Museum and the Railroad Museum are doing so good.
I think that is correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
And of course, and the other thing we didn't talk about was Deep Roots Music.
And her request stayed the same, exact same as it was. I mean, I think you saw it on there, but there was no change, so it didn't
Right.
trigger any questions.
That's right. Okay. All right. What are we in now? Crime prevention?
This is crime prevention. There's,
Robert's got a question.
I was just gonna
Sorry.
ask Gary, do we have someone to pick them up when they come in like that from Cleveland, or how
They do that themselves.
they get here themselves?
Yeah. They
Yeah,
have their own
Robert,
buses and all.
they have 3 buses, Robert, that meet them at the river.
Yeah, you see them in
Mhm.
town from time to time.
Hey, Billy, Mayor,
Yes. Yes.
that's something we need to think about, because in that meeting a few weeks ago, we mentioned again the possibility of us having some internal transportation, like a trolley car or something.
That was
Right.
my point. That's why I'm going.
Right, yeah, because like you said, they're older and a lot of them, well, I need to get by Walgreens and get some medicine or,
Accommodation.
yeah.
Exactly. So we actually got room in our budget to think about it. We can always make a budget amendment later, but I would certainly like for us to get with Sean Johnson and find out, because at one time he was checking into it for us.
Right.
Mayor, I have a question.
Okay, Kirk.
Gary and all the mayor, when you visit with the American Queen, I think it's been a great success. Do they express any interest in providing funding for a meal of some type in the community for their customers who are here, or is it?
Yeah, I'll address that. Yes, it was talked about the other night, Kirk, and it was talked about having meals set up, Gary, correct me if I'm wrong, at the Delta Arts Alliance. It's such a nice building and all.
Yeah.
And have them here during 50 Nights of Lights for a little night activity and that type thing. Isn't that right, Gary? Isn't that
Yeah, well, it's 2 parts to that story. Okay, so every time they come here, the boat is not here for long enough for some of that to happen. So what they're doing, and the mayor's right, what they're doing, they're going to try to find 2 or maybe 1 or 2 strategic dates during the year where we provide a meal at Delta Arts Alliance, and Tricia will have Deep Roots Music there. And so they'll have music and a meal. But the other thing that people don't realize is this: every time that boat lands at Tyrene Landing, they write a $12 check to the Grammy Museum for everybody on that boat, whether they go to the museum or not.
That's right.
And they do the same thing with the Railroad Museum
Oh.
gets maybe $4 or
Yeah.
person. So
So, yes,
they're putting
$3 a person.
Yeah, I agree. I know that and I agree with that, but
Yeah.
for example, I heard, again, this is third hand hearsay, that Viking in Greenville pays for all the meal and whatever they get down there. I didn't know that was some kind of discussion with American Queen that they might provide some funding for that event that the mayor was talking about. That was,
You know, we're in the infant stages of this. They were so hung up on Vicksburg and Natchez, and now I think they've kind of converted to looking at us much stronger. Wouldn't you say, Gary?
Yeah. Yeah, but
Oh,
now
that's great.
the Viking thing is a completely different situation.
Yeah, and they're talking to us too, by the way, for the record. Viking is looking at stopping in Cleveland.
Well,
We've
that's
had
great.
discussions.
That's just something for discussion.
Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I think once we get the people here, as always, we win them over. The problem we've had through the years is getting people to stop here in the first place. Okay, Gary.
Oh, we're back to crime prevention, and there's not a whole lot here that we can talk about. I mean, it's just, this is the money we get back from the state, and the chief uses it whenever he needs it. So,
Gary, something came up in the room here earlier was, and Energy is doing somewhat better on catching these lights that are out. We may, and this would come under crime prevention, maybe look at taking an inventory. A lot of these older streets and towns have these trees growing over and that kind of thing. It's looking at it, maybe adding some more lighting to some of the darker areas.
right.
Everyone
Okay.
sitting here had thought about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, we don't have much revenue in this fund. We don't get much back here. And usually in the past, the chief's always had a special project they've used that money for.
Yeah, we depleted this fund with the camera project.
That's right.
So
Okay.
I think it's
Well-
kind of in a rebuilding stage right now. So this is
Well-
where your confiscated drug funds go here, and they run the Shop with a Cop program through here, which is donation based. So we don't budget any expenditures or anything
What-
in this fund.
What's your potential revenue in this one? Go back to that first page.
The revenue,
Well, I was kind of looking at the big picture of that whole fund.
gotcha.
Okay, so you only projecting 5,000 new money.
That's right. It's basically 5,000. We budget $5,000 for confiscated drug funds, and
Uh-huh.
then $50 basically in interest.
Okay, and we don't get anything back from the fines and tickets and stuff.
Not
They
in
go-
this,
Okay.
not in this fund.
All right. The only reason I was saying, I know Dudley has asked for a portable camera, a pole camera. I didn't know if we could afford to buy it out of here.
Not out of this fund.
Just-
I put that in the general
I
fund.
saw it in there. Okay.
That's much more versatile, I think, the pole camera, because it can be moved from time to time as needed.
That's right. Okay, moving right along. We can
Okay,
skip this.
so I can finalize this one.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, let's go to Federal Home Loan Bank Fund. So this is the fund that we used. We had a grant. I think y'all probably remember, this was the grant that we
Home.
received to renovate homes.
Yeah.
Back before COVID, and it took us several years to work through it. We finished the renovation of all the homes this past year. And this fund is zeroed out. So that project has been completed, and all the contractors had been paid, and of course, we received the funds on the front end. So this fund is actually completed. So
Okay.
I can finalize this one. Right. Fire protection.
Shoot it over.
All right. So same thing at a high level. You know, at one time we had more in this fund. We've talked about, you know, we've been running the air packs through here, and then we also transferred some money out of here for the last fire truck purchase. We've got the air packs in here right now for this year as well.
How much is it this year?
40, I think 48. Let's see, 47,550 for the air packs.
And that's just for 5 or 6, or how many?
That's right.
I
It's
wanted to know
5.
the number.
They're on a 5-year rotation, and they have so many. I mean, I kind of talked through this with Greg the other day. Basically, Gene Bishop had written a grant for a bunch of air packs, and so basically what that did is now they have to do this 5-year rotation in order to keep all the air packs replenished, because they were blessed to get the grant and get all the air packs. But that if you don't do this and replenish so many every year, then you're going to be stuck doing a whole bunch at one time. That's the only thing as far as an expenditure in this fund this year. Your revenues, you've got your well, the other thing is you've got your fire codes. I think they purchased their fire codes out of this fund as well.
Yeah, he updates his FBA manuals out of that.
Every year. That's right. You've got your fire protection state funds that come in this fund, and I think it's $1,000 a month that they get from Delta State.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we've talked about that. So
Yeah, we need, it's going to be part of another discussion when we get to capital projects, because we got a new fire truck we got to buy by 25.
right.
Okay. All right.
Good here.
Yeah, no, we don't want to spend no more money in there than we have to right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can always give me a top 5. I really like to talk the driving, the pursuit driving is.
Is he talking to us?
I don't think so.
We fixed them.
All right. Let's see.
Brian, what's running in your office that's so loud?
We're cleaning the carcass. They've not been cleaned in, I don't know.
Well,
years.
something back, some going back.
Yeah.
I think
All right.
Outside, I'll mute them.
It sounds like a jet's taking off.
So do you want to go ahead and do airport improvement
You
fund?
do every fund that we can do without a lot of discussion. You know which ones they are.
All right. So the only thing, so again, high level, this is what you've got. This is your projected fund balance. The only thing that we have as far as expenditures in the fund, this fund for this year, they have one project going on.
It's wonderful.
And that is the North Ramp Hangar project. That project is, there is a funding summary that is in Dropbox. that project has, grant funds to, cover the majority of that project. Some of it will, we'll have to front like $590,000 of that, of those grant funds, because some of them will not be received until 25 and 26. So I've put, we actually did a due to, due from for part of that last year. So I did the balance of that this year in the Economic Development and Revolving Fund. You'll see that when we get to that fund. And then there is another local match that we need to cover. And Josh presently has that coming from the bond fund, but we can talk about that. There's potential for another grant. So when we get to the bond fund, we can talk about what can possibly happen with those funds if that other grant comes to fruition. But that's the only thing that you have in this project is the North Ramp Hangar project. It's covered by grants and the due to, due from, and bond money.
All right, what about the street project? Is that in here or is that in our bond fund?
This is airport improvement. We're in
I
airport
understand,
improvement.
but we got that street project going on at the airport also.
Oh, yeah, no, that's separate. It's not in this.
Okay, that's what I was trying to figure out.
Yes, sir. Mhm. Technically the only airport project so
Gotcha.
you have two street projects out at the airport. You have the Airport Grocery Road, and then you have Airport Terminal Road. Airport
Correct.
Terminal Road is the House Bill project, so it's housed in that fund, and then the Airport Grocery Road is in the bond fund.
Michelle, Mayor, question, when are we going to discuss the funding of the hangar? Is that going to come later during the process?
That's actually what I was just talking about, was the funding of the hangar.
Right. So right now, we need to discuss it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So, which I can, I did drop that summary of the funding in Dropbox. It's in the airport improvement folder in Dropbox. If y'all want to take a look at that, it was emailed out and shared originally when we received it, but I did put it in Dropbox. If y'all want me to share that with you, we can look at it real quick.
Pull it up right now, just for
All right.
clarity.
Pull that up and we'll look at it.
Something I thought I heard her say that the 500, 5,000, but no.
All right. Can y'all see that?
Yes. Yes.
All right.
$5,000.
Okay.
590,000 would be reimbursed for.
25 and 26.
That's what I thought I heard her say.
These are all
There
the
it is.
grants right here. These are the grants that we will not receive until 25 and 26. So we have a due to, due from the Economic Development and Revolving Fund, a loan from that fund to front the money. And we already had a board motion to approve that earlier this year. Clint came before the board and requested that be approved. And so we have that already in the budget. So that's this 590,000 right here for the city upfront money.
Okay.
But it will be reimbursed once those grant funds are received. So that's why it's a loan.
Okay, so what is our at the end of the day, what is our out of pocket?
Right here, this is 5 right here, 589,069.
Okay.
And that's made up of this local shared, the local match, and this right here, the 440,625, that we thought we were going to have some local participation for some of that money. And we didn't. So we have presently, in the bond request, that 589,069 in this year's bond. And
Are we gonna need to do all of it in 1 year? Cause I thought this was gonna take 2 years to do this.
that has since changed. They feel like it will be completed this year. I mean, this next year.
Kirk, do you feel that way? With those panels and all, is that gonna be correct?
It's a moving target right now. We've got to, the bids are gonna be received, I think, in the next 10 days. Maybe 15 days, but sometime
Correct.
this month. And they were based on a plan that called for a 200 watt, whatever it's called, panel. And in order to get that panel, it's a 50 to 60 or 80 week delay.
The panel has changed.
They were supposed to change that to 450 unit panels. So we're gonna get these bids. That's gonna tell you what the potential price is. But we've got this additional funding request for 1.8 million that
Right.
is going to be approved between now and March of next year. And that's going to be additional funding that the city can apply, allocate to different projects, including the hangar and other projects. It's going to take, I think it's going to take all of next year to finish the construction because there's a delay to get the building and a delay to get any electrical panels, regardless of the size. There's just a delay. So I think next summer it's going to be, probably the construction period. If we get a bid that we can accept, if it's
Right.
not bust the budget, that's what we've got to wait and see.
Yeah.
Josh didn't feel comfortable spreading it out over 2 years because he felt like it was going to be too close to call, and he didn't want to be short on funding because once they resolved the electrical panel issue and it wasn't going to be the 80-day wait on the electrical panel, he originally was going to bump it out 2 years. 80 weeks. I mean, whatever the time frame was. Once he resolved that, he was scared to bump it out. So that's the reason he put that in for the bond. But on the bond request, I have this number highlighted with a note that says $1.8 million grant request pending. So my recommendation was for y'all to choose other projects that are on, as you know, Gary, there's a list of projects that can't be bond funds can't be allocated to because you've got a fire truck and you've got
Well, and that's what I'm sitting here worried about. We got $2.1 million we got to pay for a fire truck.
right.
And this is a pretty big allocation out of our
Well,
funds.
this is-
And well,
Right.
I guess we threw this thing out of whack. There was supposed to be some private investment in this, and that's not happening.
Right.
So my next question is we've got some leases out there that are extremely, I'll just use the word reasonable for the moment. But we need to make sure this lease is adjusted to make up for that difference because this is a major investment on our part.
Yeah.
Isn't that being looked at, Kirk?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've got to really focus on doing a RFP to make sure we're within the law, and secondly, to get a commercially reasonable rent consistent with the investment the city's making.
Yeah,
Clint has been doing research. He's told me several municipal airports he has spoken to get
Right.
that information.
I've encouraged him to go to different airports,
Mhm.
good.
obtain their data, and then be in a position to recommend. But
Yeah, but see, because with this, and we need to put almost $1 million in the bond fund for this fire truck is $2.1 million, and we got to have it paid for by 25. So that eats up $1.6 million of our bond with these two items right here. That doesn't give us a lot of room to do many other things.
What's our bond limit, Gary?
Well, I mean, our bond limit is, we still got room, but once you start doing more than $2 million a year, you get to where
I agree.
you get to
We've
where
talked about it.
you got to raise taxes just to service the debt.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right. Okay. We'll just, for the moment we got, we'll say yes and just move on.
I think the key, Gary, is when these bids or bid comes in, whenever that is, 10 days from now, that's going to tell us, is it within the budget, or is it too high that we can't accept it?
Yeah, but I mean, we still got to, but Michelle is right by putting it in a bond, because we got to have the money available if this project is going to be done this year, because with that grant, the way this thing is set up, we've got other, like some other MDOT money that you're expecting that's not coming. And so the city has got to front this money.
Mhm.
That's where we're having to be careful with this thing. We're having to come up with, even though that number's 500,000, we probably are going to have to come up with 800,000 of upfront money.
Yeah.
Before we start getting any of ours back.
Right. Well, yeah. True.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm not disagreeing with anything. I'm just trying to make the cash flow work.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So you good here otherwise?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. All right. So do you want to finalize this, or you want to come back to it later?
Well, I think when we do, you can finalize it.
'Cause you can come back and look at it at any point.
Yeah. This is not going to come into play again until we look at the Economic Development Revolving Fund
Mhm.
and also the capital projects.
Mhm.
Just leave it open. We'll come back to it.
Okay. All right. So let's look at. It's a high level view of the health insurance fund. This is the
That ain't
projected
good.
fund balance for 24 after all the projections go in.
Yeah. They suggested a small increase. I talked with Michelle about this the other day, and Brian, and I disagree. We're $200,000 better off than we were last year. We generally have that meeting with Mickey in March, maybe.
That's right. It's in March.
Okay. So if we need to make a budget adjustment, we'll do it mid-year next year. So I say move on with this one.
Okay. So no need to look at any detail.
Well, I mean, we're 200,000 to the good. We
Okay.
finally got lucky one year, it looks like.
Okay. Don't jinx us, Gary.
Well, that's why I said, just move on.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna finalize this one. All right. Heritage Commission. This is this is just like
Money in,
like
money
I was
out.
saying earlier, we moved this from being just a line item to actually we house their checking account now. It moved from the chamber to the city. So we just basically house their fund and their account. So they make requests, they make deposits. Basically, we do a transfer for their appropriation, and that's it.
Moving right along.
All right. House Bill 1353. So this is where you have the Airport Terminal Road Extension Project. We received $1 million on House Bill 1353. We thought the project was going to go over budget by $251,000. The bid on this project came in lower than expected, so we are able to stay closer to budget. We're going to go over like $4,000 because of the parameters of the requirements of House Bill funds. You can't make a transfer. Nothing can be in this fund other than the House Bill funds. So we'll have to actually pay $4,112 or something like that out of like the bond fund. So we'll have to have an invoice probably for engineering for $4,112 out of the bond fund.
Do you not have that in, you don't have that in the bond fund yet?
I do.
Okay.
I've got that over there.
Then check this one off.
Okay.
Michelle, may I ask a question? And you
Yes,
said
ma'am.
we're over by 4,000 and something. What caused that?
We got lucky.
So initially that project was over budget $251,000
Yes, ma'am.
just based on the estimated project costs.
Okay.
And then the bids came in lower than
Lower.
anticipated. Yes,
Gotcha.
ma'am. So we
Gotcha.
actually ended up only being over $4,000 instead of
Oh, perfect.
251. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
There's a blessing.
All right, let's see. Do you want to do infrastructure modernization now?
It looks like a winner.
All right. All right,
Okay,
so-
this is our use tax fund.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me,
You go ahead.
is Josh on this call?
He is not.
Okay, all right, then I'm gonna suggest we come back to this when we
Okay.
can get Josh in the room, and I will give y'all the short version of his suggestion. This is money that we're getting from the state that's essentially through internet sales. And it's called a use tax fund. It's coming back to the city of Cleveland. And we're averaging somewhere around $500,000 every 6 months, it looks like.
That's correct.
And as y'all all know, we've had a lot of street problems over the years, and we've been putting a Band-Aid on it. And Josh has recommended that we use this fund to fix all the streets in Cleveland. And he basically said, if y'all will commit this fund to street improvement, that in the next 2.5 years, he can fix virtually every street in this town.
We spent the day doing that just like it. I think it's the best idea that we've come up with in years.
I thought it was an awesome idea, Mayor.
Yeah,
And,
I agree.
If that's the
So-
case, it will be fantastic.
I
So,
agree. I think
we,
Nobody gonna disagree.
Yeah, right.
we'll be in a disagreement here.
So we have some.
what we talked about earlier, Gary, the way that I have it right now, I have a transfer going out of here for essentially 1.3 million. I took kind of what the estimated project costs were that he sent me for the 3-year plan and kind of divided it out and did like for the first year. So that number may tweak that number for the first
Yeah.
year.
It ain't gonna, the other beauty of this fund is this. We've been spending anywhere from $300,000 to $500,000 a year in bond money to fix streets. This is going to free up some bond money to do some other necessary projects. So it is a great problem that we have with this money coming in. I'm telling you. So
Yeah.
you can finalize this as far as I'm concerned.
I'm
If
gonna
it-
leave it
if it-
open till I talk to him about the number that he wants to transfer.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, that's just a modification to it.
That's right. All right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
library fund,
Library is pretty much a slam dunk. we need to talk to these people and thank them. They're one of the few people that come in with a budget that we can handle every year. And they virtually hadn't asked for much of an increase. And
They haven't.
I've been on this board for 20 years now, and I don't think they've ever increased it.
So they do have some facility issues. They didn't put in a request, but I feel like they have faced some issues this past year with their roof, but
Yeah.
they were one of the ones hit with hail damage.
Yeah.
So I feel like through this
Yeah, but they got a positive fund balance, so
yes,
we can accommodate them, and you can mark this one final as well.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing a great job at the
Good.
library. That's
They
awesome.
are.
I read
And
about
I'm
a
gonna
book a
tell
week.
you, she's really easy to work with. She's
Yeah.
very, very nice.
How many meals do we have? We have 2 meals for them.
Two.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
and this is really, I'm trying to think who's anybody that doesn't know this. We allocate 2 meals of taxes to the library and to the park commission.
That's correct.
So the library has stayed within that millage every year. So that it's really, we're blessed that they're watching their budget.
All right. So I'm gonna skip the park fund for now.
Please.
Sanitation. We do
Yes, that'll be okay.
sanitation?
Sanitation's fine.
Okay. All right. So high level, this is what you're looking at for projected fund balance after all is said and done. So.
Okay, so, and we're making an allocation out of this fund to the animal shelter.
Yes.
Okay.
What's that for, Gary?
Well, we years ago, we just decided that, taking care of animals on the street was just as much a part of sanitation as anything. And so it's such a struggle because we don't have any revenues for the animal shelter. And so we've used this fund to kind of help us in that regard.
So here's your projected revenues for mosquito and garbage. This is based on our average residential customers for mosquito customers and garbage customers. This is based on an average from our billing system. It's actually down a little bit from last year. The number of customers, like I said, just based on an average.
Mayor, I have a question.
Okay.
Gary and or Michelle, and this may not be the proper budget to look at, how is our water revenue stream of revenue holding up, and after we put in the new meters?
Give you the quick version of that. Very, very good. But we are going to have to address it because we had more work done in the sewer project. And so by law, since we have to make that payment on SRF, we have to guarantee the state or the federal or whoever makes that allocation that we can cover our debt based on the charges for the services. But to answer your question,
revenues are improving.
Absolutely
Yes.
super.
Yeah. So to look at these expenditures in sanitation, advanced mosquito control, all the contracts stayed the same. Nothing was up for renewal. The one thing, Arrow, they have in their contract that they can have a CPI adjustment in October. So that's the only thing that could potentially come at us. But as of right now.
Did they request that, or you just are making?
It's in their contract.
I know it, but did you, that increase,
Making a statement.
did they give you that, or did you come up with it on your own?
Just to see, I'm sorry, this amount,
Yeah,
or it's in their contract. Their contract it's not expired. It's a current contract.
I understand,
Mhm.
but it's based on,
Amount
it's
is in
based
the
on,
contract, what you say.
Do what now?
That amount that you got in there is in the contract though, is what you're saying.
Yes,
it's a
This-
fixed number?
yes.
How do they know what the CPU is? How do they know in advance?
Okay. This amount is what they bill us currently.
Oh, I got you. Never mind. Never
Yeah.
mind.
This
got
is what they bill us currently based
I
on their
thought you were-
current
I
contract.
thought you were showing that as the increase. I'm sorry.
No. That's what I'm saying. Like their CPI adjustment,
Right.
they don't do that based on their current contract. They have the wording in there that they can submit a CPI adjustment in October.
Yeah, that ain't gonna be pretty.
Right. So I really don't know how to budget for something that I don't know what
You
it would
can't.
be.
Well, but we'll have to do a budget amendment at the time.
Okay.
Okay.
I think everything else, this is your transfer out that you were talking about earlier.
Got it. Okay.
For the animal shelter.
All right, we're good.
You know, we went up a little bit. We went up $160,000 on that last year. So
Yeah.
I just kept the same amount from the previous year.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. Any questions about this fund?
No.
All right. Are you good to finalize this one?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Right. Let's see. We'll skip sewer utility for now. Look at the TIF fund. I guess we could do sewer utility. There's probably not anything. So this is the TIF fund. We have Cotton House and Cannon TIFs.
So we have enough money coming in now to cover their bond payments.
We do.
Okay,
This is the projected fund balance right here
good.
after everything goes through for 24.
How much longer do we have on those?
I'll have to pull up the agreements to tell you for sure.
How much what? What was the question?
How much longer do we have?
They
on
were
those?
15-year TIFs.
Okay.
So you probably got 13 years on them, Brian.
I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Will
And-
Hooker and I looked at those when I
Yeah.
first started and I couldn't remember.
And let me point this out to the board. That $282,000, once those bonds are paid off, all that revenue comes to the city of Cleveland at 13 years from now. So that's a pretty good windfall, Mayor, for whoever the new administration is back then.
Well,
13.
well, I think it's Cotton House has been there longer. I don't think it's quite as
Longer,
long
yeah.
as 13 years.
Right.
No, what I meant was I said whoever the administration is 13 years from now is gonna have a good windfall.
Yeah, good for them.
Well, hopefully they'll remember to pat us on the back for doing this for them.
I'm positive they won't. Let's move on.
They
Well,
can come to the nursing home and tell us.
Right.
Well,
I'm
maybe we could put up a monument.
hoping-
Maybe we can put up a monument right in front of the Cotton House, and so they'll remember.
As a reminder.
Yeah. So
All
thank the board of 2021.
Absolutely.
So do you want to look at sewer utility fund? Is there?
Let me see, what else? Do a couple of more small ones.
Got
and-
unemployment. Yeah, we can do
Yeah,
these
do a
two.
couple of more small ones and let's take a 15-minute break.
All right. Unemployment compensation. We don't, only revenues is interest on the checking account. And then we budget for potential expenditures for any unemployment claims. There's
Yeah,
very little activity in
Nah.
this fund ever.
moving
This
right
is
on.
your projected fund balance right here, so.
We're good.
All right. And USDA Rural Development Grant. So this is the fund that we used we received a grant to purchase the equipment that's in Delta Meat Market in Barfontaine. And we have a lease with Cole Ellis or Delta Meat Market in Barfontaine for that equipment. Of course, the equipment has been purchased and paid for. And essentially all this is where we post the lease payments we receive from Cole every month.
Right.
So no expenditures.
What is the only thing, and we need to go back and look, what can we use that money for? Do you remember?
What money? That
The money that the $28,000.
that I don't know. I can find out.
I think, and I'm going from memory, I think it's a revolving fund now
Oh,
that we can use for other retail people who want to maybe do an expansion. We just need to find out what the details
okay.
are.
All right, that would make sense.
Yeah.
I'll look at the grant agreement.
Yeah, it wasn't a huge grant, but I think once it got paid back, because we had to be the source for the money when it came in initially,
Yeah.
with the idea that we would have the money to reuse when it was over with.
For some reason, I'm thinking it was around a couple $100,000 or
I think
something.
it was exactly a couple $100,000.
Yeah.
Wasn't it through like rural development or something? Because I
It
remember had
was.
going to Batesville to sign all the paperwork on it.
Yes, sir. It was.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. All right.
What else you got? The small.
Let's see. Let me finalize this one. All
Yeah,
right.
we're gonna take a break in a few minutes, and then we're gonna tackle these 2 or 3 big ones. I don't see anything else.
Let's see. I skipped ARPA. Did we do economic development revolving?
No, we
Did
didn't. We didn't.
Do you want to do that one?
You can look at it. I don't know if we can finish it.
Or do you want to go ahead and take a break?
Well, let's look at it for a second, then we'll take a break.
Okay.
All right. The only thing that I'm concerned about is this. That fund should have over $2 million in it. And we need to go back and figure out what's happened.
Well, we've got some loans out on this fund. I've got to
Okay,
do from.
but the loans not included in the balance sheet that would have kept that fund balance over $2 million?
Well, your fund balance is your cash.
Okay, so how much do we have in loans out there?
So the due to, due from is in your, with the loans, it's actually over 2 million. It's like
That's
2
fine.
and.
Okay. I just want to kind of keep up with that, Michelle, because this has truly been a revolving fund that has saved us with ongoing projects. And so we just need to make sure that we always keep around. We just need to maintain that $2 million.
And, because just last year we did a 569,000 transfer to the airport for not a transfer, but due to a loan. And then I finished that out 20,590 to make it the 590,000 that it needed to be. So
the airport owes it back to us?
Yes, 590,000. That's the upfront money for that North Ramp hangar project. Those 2 grants for fiscal year 25, 26.
And that's not going to come back in this year?
No, that's 25, 26.
Okay.
That was what
All right, well, let's come back to this one then, because I really want to make sure that we account for what should be in that fund.
Mhm.
Is there a balance sheet on that fund I can look at?
I put it in,
It's in Dropbox.
in Dropbox.
Okay, all right, I had to go back there, I guess. What's it called?
Fiscal
see it.
year
Never-
2024.
never mind. I just found it.
And then there's a folder for each.
Okay, so we should have 2.3 million. Okay, I just want to get a breakdown of what's due from them other funds. Okay. All right, if y'all don't mind, Mayor, can we take about a 10 or
Sure.
15-minute break?
Yeah,
Just to return a few phone calls and drink some coffee or something.
all right, we'll come back at what, about 10 minutes after? 10?
Michelle, is that okay with you?
Fine with me.
10 after 10, we'll be back.
All right.
Okay.
Thank y'all.
Sounds good.
All right.